pleasure to welcome Joachim Holder, CEO of the Norwegian medical company Lifecare. Welcome, Joachim.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We've all heard of diabetes, insulin, pharma companies like Novo Nordisk, especially here in Denmark. What new and exciting things do Lifecare bring to the diabetes sector that isn't already there?
Well, Lifecare, in Lifecare, we have developed a unique sensor technology. So that means obviously that we are not in competition with Novo Nordisk, who is making drugs and are producing insulin for patients with diabetes. We have developed a reactive proprietary electrochemical solutions, of which we're able to capture glucose variations in a small sensor by measuring changes in the osmotic pressure. This is due to the fact that the osmotic pressure and the variations in the glucose levels in the body is correlating 100%. So with our patented osmotic sensor technology, we are developing the smallest continuous glucose monitoring device in the world. This device will be at the size of a grain of rice, and we plan to inject it in the subcutaneous tissue. This will be, as far as we know, the first and also the only continuous glucose monitor that will be fully injected under the skin. It's also necessary to mention that the very small size of our device has been made possible based on the fact that we have implemented a licensed production method for manufacturing nanotunneling strain sensors at the size of 40 nanometer on our sensor device. So, and due to the fact that we do not consume any of the electrochemical fluid for measuring purposes, we also expect that our sensor will have a longevity of 6 months or more. And based on our patented core technology, there will not be any need for calibration. So while we then congratulate, obviously, in these days, Novo Nordisk with their progress developing new drugs for patients with diabetes 2, our mission is to help people with diabetes to live a normal life by providing the smallest, longest lasting, and also most affordable continuous glucose monitor device in the world.
Super. Just for those who are not diabetes patients, why do you need this monitoring of the glucose levels? And what do the people usually do now? And what other, possibilities are there out there?
Well, obviously, anybody with type 1 diabetes and also as much as probably 1/3 of patients with type 2 diabetes need to measure their glucose on a constant in a constant effort. The standard method to measure the glucose level is to prick in to puncture your finger and take a blood sample and measure. While we have also the state-of-the-art continuous glucose measurement devices from Abbott, to mention one, where you have an external unit on your upper arm, for example, that can continuously measure your glucose level. This is necessary to ensure that, based on the fact that diabetes is a disease where the body is not able to produce or produces too little insulin, the people with diabetes need to monitor the insulin level, so the glucose level, so that they can adjust it by injecting insulin or other drugs.
Okay, you said like 1/3 of the 500 million people need to do this monitoring of their glucose levels. How big is the addressable market for your product?
Well, what we envision is that, and this is obviously based on published numbers from basically from the International Diabetes Federation, we know that there are more than 500 million people. In 2021, it was estimated to be 537 million people in the world with diabetes. Although not all of them are diagnosed, we are kind of subtracting half of the potential patients, and then again define 1/3 of the half to be patients in need of monitoring their glucose level. And we have also defined, based on this ridiculously huge number, more than 500 million, we have also kind of narrowed it down to in geographical areas, so that we define our primary target market to be the patients with diabetes in Europe, North America, and also in 14 additional defined high-income countries. And while doing that, we have narrowed down the numbers to a potential of more than 26 million patients, based on 2021 numbers, of which almost 9 million of those are in Europe alone.
Okay, so that's because it must be a more expensive product than just punching your finger.
Yeah, to some extent it will be potentially a bit more expensive than puncturing your finger, but we have an advantage also related to the fact that we have low production costs, at least when we go into the volume production. So we have this aim that we will be more affordable than both the existing solutions that are semi-implantable devices, and also to be more affordable than the finger pricking solution. Obviously, this is a bit early to completely define it, because we have to set up the production facilities and so on. But kind of at the end of the day, we know that as of today, somewhere between 5 and 10% of patients with diabetes in developed countries, in Europe, in North America, have access to.
When do you plan to launch the product, and which steps, milestones are there on the way?
So we are currently running our first in human clinical pilot studies, and we aim to finalize that study by end of September 2022. When this is finalized, we will prepare for a second clinical study with the purpose of a longevity study, and then also to later initiate the third study in 2023 for regulatory purposes. We have an aim to ensure ISO certification and technical data to claim the CE mark next year, and the overall aim is to go to market in 2024. So talking about milestones, the upcoming milestones, they're all related to the regulatory preparations for ISO certification, and of course also the planned clinical trials in 2023, and then market launch in 2024.
Okay, so yeah, the next milestone is very soon, next month.
The next milestone is definitely very soon. We are looking forward to be able to communicate information from the first study, and we hope to do that in September already.
Okay. You focus on diabetes, but the sensor can also be used for other kinds of, yeah.
That's correct. A bit, maybe a short technical introduction. In our sensors, we have chambers with a reactive electrochemical fluid. This fluid consists of glucose binding molecules. Of course, because it's glucose we want to bind. What we can do is quite easily, we can adopt this electrochemical solutions to other binding molecules, so that we, for instance, could capture lactate, we could capture calcium. In theory, we could capture all analytes in the human body. So while we are focusing, that's due to the company DNA, we are focusing on diabetes. We're also now preparing for additional steps to also look beyond diabetes, and to introduce the sensor technology for other continuous monitoring devices.
Okay. Then coming back to what's all about investing in your stock, the share price started at Norwegian kroner 1.80, and now it's around 4 kroner. So this year has been a pretty good investment for the investors in Lifecare. So why should I invest in Lifecare, and why do it now?
Well, let's put it. I mean, first of all, we could of course take a glance at the market cap of the company, which is taking into account the market that the potential market for the product, I don't think that the market cap is kind of it's not very much frightening, to put it in that way. The thing is that we have done preclinical studies earlier in the 2010s, later 2016, 2017, and following these clinical studies that we did, no preclinical studies, apologize, the preclinical studies we did with macro cells, we did reach a very important milestone in June 2022, when we were able to conclude reproducible and stable in vitro experiments with our miniaturized sensor. And this achievement practically concluded our core scientific development. Obviously, we are a company without a product in the market. We still have production to set up. We still have regulatory issues to handle. But the scientific risk is to a very large extent taken down, and maybe also even not still there. So we have risks from an investor point of view. We have risks related to regulatory issues and production preparations, although we have prepared for this phase for years and are confident that we will meet all the necessary requirements and implement our plans for volume productions over the next couple of years to come. So with our sensor technology, we are able to address a huge market with unmet needs. And the potential for the company is big, maybe even extreme, related both to the diabetes pandemic, but also related to the market besides glucose monitoring. That is reasons one should consider for investment in Lifecare.
Okay, thank you. That was all. Thank you very much, Joachim.
Thank you.
And yeah, we look forward to following Lifecare and see where it goes from here.
Thank you very much.